Thank you, Mena.
Thank you, Mena.
Turn me up. This is
coming to you from the heart of the Pacific, brought to you by Paulie by Design.
respected at all times.
Broadcasting from San Francisco, California, the city by the bay.
It's about to go down.
We shine on positive Pacific Islander role model every Sunday.
Party on a Sunday.
From 10 a.m. to noon, it's time for the iconic Faika Podcast with your hosts,
Listening to
Naki and Carl.
What's up, Naki?
What's up?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock on the money.
How about that?
Finally.
How about that?
Finally.
We finally got our... We were always on time, and then we
got
Fabi,
and we got Fabi.
and we're back.
Good morning. Good morning to our Mel, who's checking in from Nevada. Yeah, Nevada. Checking in
Sin
on
City.
Facebook. Good morning. And our Maury is checking in on Facebook. Good morning, Maury.
We're in two states wide right now.
Yeah, we're in Vegas and
We're
SFO.
nationwide because we're in two states.
Yeah. It's a good show today. We have a special co-host who's going to be joining us. Alan Lainaholo is awaiting entrance, I guess I should say. He was born in Los Angeles in 1976 at the Glendale Medical Center, moved to the Big Island of Hawaii at the age of 7 in 1983, raised in
Kaukaha.
There you go. Hawaiian homestead, raised by his maternal aunt. The best 13 years of his life was growing up in
Kaukaha.
Hilo, Hawaii from 1983 to 1995. After graduating from high school in 95, he returned back to Los Angeles and has been there since. Alan received his bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration and in August of 2007 from the University of Phoenix. Alan has been working for American Guard Services in the operations sector since 2018. In May of 2018, he took a leap of faith by going into public speaking by joining Toastmasters, which emphasizes both leadership development and public speaking. Currently a member of both Stage 2 and Humor Toastmasters Club in Southern California. When not doing public speaking, he works on his podcast titled The FTM Session, which emphasizes growth development, getting out of his comfort and fear zone. Alan is our co-host this morning. Welcome, Alan.
Welcome, Alan.
Hello, Kakayaka, Uncle Carl, and Auntie Nax. Thank you. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Coming from the... Is that near Kalapana on that side of the island?
No.
Oh.
No. That side is more towards Puna side. Puna side.
Okay. I got you.
Kaimu area. Kaimu Kapol side. Going towards Volcano.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. And we're just shouting out people that are on Facebook right now. We have Alisanga Sutherland Asoao, who's checking in from also Nevada. So good morning, Alibaba.
Good morning, everybody. Season 6, episode 14 of the Faika Podcast. Today, we got the check-ins. As usual, we also have Alan, who's going to add to the check-ins.
Mm-hmm.
In the second half, we will have Isaac Halasima, the personal project director for Waterman. And that is about one of the... I think it's very well known, obviously, in the Polynesian, the Pacific Islander community, Duke Kahanamoku's contributions.
Right.
But I think that people forget that he's the father of modern day surfing.
Right.
And he's a five-time Olympic medalist.
Right.
So if you put that into perspective right now, if you had a Pacific Islander that was a 5-time Olympic medalist, you'd hear about him all over the place. Right. So it's a great time to celebrate Duke Kahanamoku's life, and then Isaac putting these kind of projects together. We're going to have him on in the second half to kind of walk us through. The premiere is in Redwood City in the Bay Area on Monday. We will be there. We will be there to support, to view. I'm looking forward to learning about it. And one of the things that I want to know is, because the statue of Duke Kahanamoku in Waikiki, his back is to the ocean. And in Hawaii, Alan well knows that it's disrespectful to have your back to the ocean. You'll even see some people walk out of the ocean backwards, that they're not turning their backs to the water. And the statue has Duke Kahanamoku with his back to the water. So I'm just curious, as an expert or as a documentation person about the man, does Isaac see that as disrespectful? So one of the many things I want to ask him. We'll have that in the second half. That is our show today. Naki, was good.
Good morning. Good morning. Like this week, I chilled all week. I have allergies like nobody's business. I was like, I couldn't breathe because I have asthma. Thank you, COVID. But I thought, oh man, did I get COVID again? So I tested like 3 times today just to make sure, because my ass is old and I can't get sick again. And it's just my asthma. I mean, it's my allergies and asthma on top of that. So I've been just trying to lay low and save all my talking for today for you and Alan.
We have an event coming up on Friday of this week that we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
So Naki and I got together yesterday on Zoom to kind of go over the run of the show, what we're going to say, who the guests are, the nominees, the winners, and everything. Right. And Naki started that meeting off with about a minute and a half of sneezing. I was like, does your stomach hurt from sneezing so much? You would think you tighten up, almost like doing crunches.
Yeah, no, there's so much fat there. There's so much fat there. Ain't no kind of hurting gonna happen. So this morning I took allergy. I never take allergy medicine, Alan. Never. I've never had allergies, nothing. And then this year I was like, is that allergies? And so this morning I got up all congested and sneezing, and I went into the cabinet where my kids keep all their allergy medicines, and I took an allergy pill and I feel fine. So I'm like, all right.
If you got to have, because I'm a veteran of allergies, make sure that you keep it in your system, right? So if you are sneezing and, you have all the symptoms, then that the antihistamines have dipped in the level. So if you keep it static, you should be okay.
Do you have allergies, Alan?
No.
Oh, good for you.
Just flat out. Nope.
Good for you. You're lucky.
I never had allergies growing up on the coast. Never had allergies. Moved to Sacramento. Didn't have allergies, I think, the first, 5 years that I lived there. And I don't know what changed, but I had been in Fort Bragg, and I drove back home, and I stood in my backyard. I was feeding my dogs, and there was pollen flying everywhere, which usually to me doesn't mean anything, right? And I remember looking at the pollen going, man, if I had allergies, and it was literally at that moment I started sneezing, I walked back inside and sneezed for 5 minutes. I mean, I was just one after the other. And then I went to go pick up my girlfriend. And so I was waiting in the parking lot. She came out and almost took me to the ER because my face was completely puffy. She was like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you mean? And then she's like, look in the mirror. And that the movie Switch or whatever, where Will Smith looks in the mirror and sees that he's all screwed up. Exactly what happened to me. So I don't know what happened. Alan, bless you. Hopefully that you never hit that switch where you got allergies. But when you do, you got to find a way to be able to live and breathe. And Naki, I wish you well. I hope everything works out for you.
Thank you very much. This week was my last week in police services. I'm still working for the same company, which I don't want to say the name, but this is my last week in police services. I've been with police services for 8 years. And so I thought I would try, if you're uncomfortable, you're growing. So it was time for me to be uncomfortable. And so I'm in I work for the same place. I just am in a different department. And I start tomorrow, actually, my new position. And so I'm excited. I'm going to learn a bunch of stuff and be uncomfortable for, I don't know, a while. But that's my new normal, is being uncomfortable. Like these last 5 years, that's all I've been doing, is doing new things, helping me grow. But I love the department that I just left. The people that I work with are like family. And so I'm still going to see them every day. They had bought me lunch, and then they gave me this appreciation certificate.
So you're still in the same building?
I'm still in the same building. I just won't see them as much as I used to. But I'll still, I'll walk around and harass them. But
so just let me chime in here. Naki's being a little bit humble. She worked really hard on the interviews, on preparing, on trying, and when being told no, Naki there's a lot of work put into where she's at, and she's not going to share that because she doesn't like talking about herself. But she did work really hard, and she she heard no several times, and she didn't take no for an answer, and now she's at it.
Yeah, I'm not good with no. I think I got used to it from when I asked people, "Can we interview you?" And they go, "Oh no, thank you." Then at first I was like,
but she didn't hold back.
Yeah,
she actually said it.
Yeah, now I just so I'm looking forward to it. I totally like my department that I just left, police services. They are a class act. They took really good care of me the last day. Food, of course, is the number one in my book. So that's how they took. I got cracked chicken, which is a Korean fried chicken. It's really good. Fried rice.
Yeah,
and
crack chicken.
Yeah, we literally call it crack chicken at work, and then fried rice, and then Danny, one of my friends who works with me, it was his day off. He was actually on vacation. He lives in San Jose, and he drove up to bring cake and cupcakes from a bakery it's a little mom and pop bakery that he loves in San Jose. So he drove up and brought sweets, and so it was very sweet. I was very touched by everything, and then they handed me this appreciation certificate, and I'm such a crybaby, so I'm crying everywhere. But yeah, really good team. I'm so happy that I still get a chance to see them and bug them. So I'm glad that I'm still in the same company. Just I won't be seeing them as much, but I will really. So I love my team. Thank you everyone there at work for taking good care of me. So I'm going to the IT department. What? I'm going to the IT department. God help that department. But yeah, so I'm excited to start tomorrow, and that's basically it. I've just been busy trying to get my laptop. I've got a new laptop. They're going to give me my phone, which is better than my personal phone, so I'm looking forward to that. And that's it. They're just trying to I went to my new workspace, put my heater and everything up. And so I think that's kind of a good thing of just going to a different department in the same building. I just walked all my stuff over to the new
Did you literally do it with a cardboard box like they do in the movies?
I was walking to my desk like this. I just carried everything I took all my pens, I took all my stapler, all that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to starting tomorrow. So I get to sleep in a little bit. And police services, I started from 6 a.m. to 2:30. And so now it's just when I get there. No, it's not when I'm in training. So I've got to be there at 9. But after that, I'll be working hybrid, which is at home. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, that was my week.
Yeah, I think
allergies.
The working at home thing, it can be a double-edged sword.
Yes.
And I've had to figure out how to do that because there's so many distractions.
Right.
That if you don't make a structured kind of a regimen, procedure or routine, you have to have a routine to it, or you can really get, it's hard to get work done.
Well, I heard that a lot of people that work from home usually work more than if they were in the office, and only because you're at home and you've got time to do whatever you think of it pops into your head and you just go to your desk and do it. So I heard that, so that could be good. But yeah, that was my week. I'm excited for this new journey, and so big shout out to Brandy who's checking in on Facebook, my Brandy Gardner. So yeah, that was my week. How about you, Alan?
Got to keep us. We're going to go down south, down to SoCal.
How was your week?
Well, it's busy as usual. Work week. Me being in the operations sector in my line of work, so it's never get really a day off because you're always
on
call, on standby. Your phone's always going off even on your days off, and that's one of those things where I know what I signed up for, but on my day off, when my job's calling, I just leave the vibrate button on. I just tell them I'll see you tomorrow because my job requires a lot. You know, on paper it says you're working 8 hours, but in reality I'm always working 12, 13, 14-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're in my line of work, you kind of put in a lot of uncomfortable situations, and it's something where you have to be able to think quickly. A lot of the times the answers are not always right. Sometimes the answers are always correct, but that's what allows you to grow. That's what allows you to mold yourself into growing and from all of your mistakes. Not so much what you did right, but what you did wrong, correct it. What can you do to make it right going forward? And it's not just in my line of work, it's just whatever I'm doing in public speaking or in my podcast and so on.
And what does FTM stand for?
It stands for forward thinking minds, being more in the forward thinking mindset and not always looking in the rear view mirror, but also allowing yourself to be able to grow, to be able to be uncomfortable, and I think with me, it's more so finding those situations or those opportunities where you know it's uncomfortable, but you're going to do it anyway. You have to immerse yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing is if you're always comfortable, you're probably not growing. Right. So if you never leave your comfort zone, you can live a life that way. And everybody's going to live their life the way they live their life.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I know that if I'm comfortable for too long, that I got to do something, and I got to be somewhat wise about what I'm doing. I don't should be uncomfortable. Let me go rob a bank or something, something like that. But it's like, this could be something uncomfortable. Like you're going to go find something to do that's uncomfortable and be okay being uncomfortable. And I think that's something that people don't necessarily care to do is get out of their comfort zone.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And my public speaking journey came about. I was at a time, I was 41 at the time in 2017. It was a very tough situation. My grandparents passing, then the following month, my aunt passing, my aunt who raised me, her passing from cancer. So I was on the Big Island for about 2 weeks, the whole celebration of life, the whole Oleva, the funeral services, and all that. And so I'm coming back to LA. It was one of those moments where everything around you it's really quiet.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to process the whole thing. You're trying to grieve it and grasp it. Then I had the opportunity during my lunch break to scroll on Instagram, and I saw Coach V. It's like, wait a minute, this is not true. And I'm looking at all his videos, his demos. So I texted him, and yeah, we that's how I got started. He was the one that really got me kick-started. So he's telling me how the whole process goes, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. He goes, well, you're gonna be doing your demos, you're gonna be speaking in front of people, you're gonna learn to get uncomfortable in order to get comfortable. You're gonna learn to understand that one day you'll be speaking in front of 85,000 people if you stay with it. And I told him again, no. I'm like, so he's like, and he's telling me, hey, no, look, Toko, this is real. I said, Coach, no. But and the thing was, while all this is going on, after I got done talking to him, it allowed me to sit back and just understand that I may never get this opportunity again. You don't in the poly community, in the Pasifika community, you don't really see guys like Coach V, those guys that are out there and in the public speaking sense, the motivational speaking sense, the whole his ability to interact with the community. They all tell me, who's Coach V? I said he is the Tongan John Maxwell. And when someone calls you that, it is the highest compliment one can receive in public speaking. A lot of people call him the Tongan Tony Robbins. It's like, yes, he's the real deal. Yeah. So that's how my whole public speaking journey got started. About a month later, I go down to San Diego. I turned my phone off. I took the day off from work. Everyone's calling. They're like, why are you not picking up your phone? I said, I can't talk right now. So I go down there. I meet up with Coach V at Raw Mana Fitness, Ida and COC Veman down there. So we're talking, and I see Coach V in the go inside. He's doing a workout promo for about 15, 20 minutes. So he's big into health and fitness.
Yeah.
And then we got the chance to talk, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna do it. So that's how it all got started. And when I joined Toastmasters, it was you got the impromptus going. You introduce yourself, and now you only, and at the same time you're speaking in front of 20 people. And I will tell you, it's the most awkward thing. It's the most uncomfortable thing.
Yes.
It's the closest thing to being it's the closest thing to, you're doing a movie and they're filming you. It's the most uncomfortable thing, but you have to understand the whole purpose of the process, that things will get uncomfortable, but in due time they will get better.
Yes.
Fast forward about four months later, I'm speaking in front of everyone, about 20 people, and I tell you not, I was like RoboCop in the Robo Matrix, if you know what I mean. I looked like RoboCop. It was tough. It was my first speech, and I was going in slow motion, just like in the Matrix. But eventually, I got through it, and I finally got all the jitterbugs out, and I never looked back.
Awesome.
I think public speaking, and this is in the 90s, I think, but there was a survey, a poll done of what are you most afraid of? And death was second.
Yes.
So people were more afraid to get up on stage and talk in front of people than dying.
Right.
And I think that, those are things that, again, if you're uncomfortable doing that, and you want to, grow as a person, it's not just going to be as a public speaker. That's going to have you grow as a person overall. Correct. Overcoming adversity like that. And I think the company I used to work at, I was there for 10 years, and the last 2 years, the meetings, if you were late to a meeting, so if we went to break or lunch or something and you were supposed to be back in your seats at one of the big meetings, you could be given an impromptu speech, and you got up in front of everybody, and for 2 minutes you would get up there and they'd say, whatever the topic was. And the second day, my boss and I were out in the lobby talking, and we both came back in late. We were the two that were late. And of course, he's the vice president and I'm not. So I got pegged because my boss wanted to continue to have a conversation with me. And I ended up in front of probably 300 people, with a 2-minute topic, penguins. So I get up there and they're like, penguins, go. After that, nobody's ever late for a meeting. Everybody saw me up there and we're like, we are not going to have to go through that. I struggled through it. I just turned it into Penguins are a hockey team in Pittsburgh, and their color is black and gold. And so are the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so I just talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers for 2 minutes, but, nobody was late for meetings to get back after a break after that. Everybody didn't want to get up on stage. So kudos to you for facing that. Quick question. Everybody, when people are from LA, I always ask are you from LA, or are you from a surrounding city?
The South Bay area, Carson, Torrance, Long Beach area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There's a poly household on every block.
Right. True story.
I think one of our partners in crime are down to Long Beach right now.
There's poly stores on every block.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. I don't see him until a year later. And I'm always passing them every day. It's just that we're all busy and everybody's busy. Everyone's going about their day and so on. But yeah, Uncle Carl, you're so right. I'm sure that the message was clear in that whole aspect, the whole situation itself. Glossophobia is one of the first terms I've learned in public speaking, where 75% of people have that fear of speaking in front of others. Again, the term glossophobia. And that's the term I think I study it in my head every day for at least 2-3 minutes, reminding myself that, because I used to be one of those people.
Yeah.
Having to speak, because when I met Coach V, we're all just talking story, and he says, "Hey, stay tuned. I got something special for you." He never told me what happened. He speaks. I think COC spoke, And another person spoke. He said, "Oh yeah, Alan, by the way, you're number 4." So I'm speaking down there at his studio. He has a gym studio workout right here, and then next, and I think he has a halal on the other side. And I'm speaking, and I don't even know what I'm speaking about, and I'm blabbering all over the place. I went into fob mode for a while, but the whole message was clear. He was like, "Now, do you understand where I'm trying to get you to?" So it all made sense. So, and I told him, I haven't spoken to Coach in a while after I completed his empowerment program. It's a great program. It's a 9-month program. It's all about empowering yourself. And I was supposed to be in his proximity program, but I had to take some personal time off. His proximity programs, that's a whole different level. It's a whole ball game. It teaches you about taking initiative, being ready to go, being in that moment where you're ready to go and just doing it right there in the moment. Because
we love Coach V.
Take that initiative right there in the moment. So yeah, it's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's awesome. But you stay at it, and then I think the more that you speak in public, that you'll start to get comfortable.
So that's one of my goals. To one day, I always joke around with Coach. One day I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go to the Rose Bowl, and I'm gonna speak in front of 85,000 people. And I'm gonna just rock that house, and we just laugh. Yes. But at the end of the day, it's always as I wake up every day. To always remember who I am, where I came from, being in this little community on the Big Island, this Hawaiian homestead community, and I was one of the fortunate ones to grow up in Hawaiian homestead. Amidst all the political mumbo jumbo, all the stuff that's going on with Native Hawaiians, I was one of the fortunate ones. My mom being Kanaka Maoli, and my dad being my biological dad being European Palangi or Paoli, and that's a whole different story. But I was one of the fortunate ones to have that opportunity to grow up there for 13 years, come back and to make the most of it. But it's always remembering who I am, where I came from as a Kanaka Maoli, or being part Hawaiian, being a Pasifika, and always to be humble. That's who we are as Pacific Islanders. Always remember to always stay humble and keep working.
I think that's a good example. Coach V is a good example of what we always talk about with the positive role models. If I see somebody that looks like me doing it, then hey, I'm more likely to think that I can do it if I see somebody that looks like me. So seeing a public speaker out there, a motivational speaker, and then saying, hey, I could do that. I could do what he's doing. And then actually having the opportunity to work with Coach V, actually, and he's in Sacramento. So that's one of the things I got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, he's the real deal. And I've learned a lot from him to allow myself to think outside the box, to see things, because there's this thing called I used to be like this where everything is so narrow, but with him it's the whole public speaking aspect is to see things from different angles, different perspectives, because at the end of the day, I look at it as I'm dealing with people from all different walks of life.
True. That's awesome.
And now at this, on a side note, because I know Brother Isaac's coming in the field. On a side note, it's allowed me to even go even further outside of the box. Right now, just laugh. At the age I'm 45 right now, but I've also took the opportunity to reconnect with Olelo, or Hawaiian language. I'm doing it with some people on the Clubhouse app. We have a room. I'm sure you got Uncle Carl knows what I'm talking about. It's the Clubhouse app, where you got a room full of Kanaka Maolis, Polynesians, and it's done by Paluke, Pasquale, and Kama Mohina. And we're doing the Harry Potter book. It's called Harry Potter Akiramai, and it's in Hawaiian.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty cool because I know Auntie Nats, you talk about with Auntie Lulu Masina and Auntie Nani Wilson, they do an intro to Samoan language. So, and I knew that day was going to come where, hey, maybe, I'm not worried about age, age is just a number, but I knew somewhere along the way, I was going to have to reconnect with Hawaiian language. So that's what I'm doing right now. We're doing it one Tuesday a month. But at the same time, during the week, I'm doing self-teaching, 15, 20, 30 minutes a day. However much my brain can process before the light switch automatically turns off by itself.
Awesome.
So it's another, you allow yourself to take those opportunities and take that leap of faith.
Awesome. I love it. Carl, how was your week?
Well, my week. So I've got my my boss is out. My boss is on leave. So I've been asked to step in, and so I'm doing 2 jobs. My work, and 1 is plenty. 2 is a lot, and this week there were some big things to be done this week. So other than Tuesday, I took Tuesday. I went down. It was Malia's last game. Not just her senior day was on Saturday, but her actual last 2 games were on Tuesday. So I took Tuesday off. Brother Alan was talking. I turned the phone. I had told work I was off. I was not taking calls. And Nicole and I went down, watched her last 2 games. And the second game in the 7th inning, so they're the home team. So the top of the 7th, Malia and her team goes out there, and they're hugging each other as they all meet in the infield, and they're all hugging each other and crying. And Nicole goes, "Are they done? Like, what's going on? Don't they have another inning to play?" And I was like, this is the last time they're ever going to take the field to play defense together because it's top of the 7th, and they're going to hit, and that's it. And Nicole at that point just starts crying. She cried the rest of the game because she was like, why are they hugging each other? Last time ever. Some of them played together 5 years. Some of them played together longer. There's people that went to high school together and then went to the team. So it's the end of their playing career, right? By far. The most of them, everybody's playing career is over. It's just a matter of who's going to coach. So they play out the game, and then we took her to eat, hung out with her, and sad time, but great moment.
Right.
That's one of those things. Like, it's a very sad time. She's been playing baseball or softball since she was 5. So she's going to take a minute to decide what she wants to do. Mm-hmm. There's a coaching offer out there, but she doesn't want to make a decision like right now. Mm-hmm. Like, it makes sense to let's just let everything level out and then figure out, which is, to me, shows maturity. Because at 23, I would just make a decision on that sounds good, or no, that doesn't. And she says, I know I'm emotional.
Yeah.
I know this is the end of my playing career. I just need some time to think about it. So that was Tuesday. And the rest of it was, 13, 14 hour days, going through. I thought yesterday was going to be one of those days, but I actually finished it a day early. So I got done late Friday, and man, yesterday I vegged out. I watched some Ozarks, did not get to the season finale. So if people have seen that, I think I'm on, I don't know what episode I'm on.
How many seasons is there?
5.
Okay. And I thought maybe I'd start, but not if there's 5 seasons.
Oh, it's awesome. It's great. It's just a great series.
And it's done. Like,
I think it's done. I think and I don't know for sure, but I think it's done. And that was really it. Yesterday, I just kicked it, man. I didn't do a whole lot. And kind of straightened up my office just a little bit. There's some things I want to do in it. So I've got, I got to keep everything uncluttered. You may find this when my desk is uncluttered. I don't mind working is pretty easy to do because everything is like an uncluttered mind. If my desk is a mess, then it makes it hard to focus on what I'm doing. So that's my next project at home. And I'm glad just to get through the week, because it was a bunch of double-digit hour days.
Our Wit is on, and she says she's stuck on Ozark too. She's on season 3, episode 4. Okay, I guess if Wit is watching, I'll go start.
It's so good. And then now you can binge it all the way through, because I watched it season by season.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so
I'm not good with that.
See a episode and it ends in a cliffhanger. Got to wait a week. The end of the season, got to wait a year.
Yeah,
but now you can binge it.
You can watch the whole thing. That's like Oh yeah, what is that show we watched? Game of Thrones. Like that last season, I was dying. I was like, by the time it was a year or so, I was like, fuck that season. I was like, fuck that show. And then when it came on, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she told me that. She's like, because I think when I met you, you hadn't watched an episode.
Not an episode.
And I was like, you got to just watch a couple episodes. And then it was like, I'm in season 2, episode 8. I'm like, didn't you just start it? Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta watch more.
I gotta watch more. Yeah, it's addicting. And I can't get addicted to anything right now besides food because I'm starting this new job. But Wit says she's addicted and she's binge watching.
Ozarks is awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. And what is it about? Real quick.
It's like, so you watch Breaking Bad. Don't tell me you haven't seen Breaking Bad.
Watched that.
Oh my gosh, you got to watch Breaking Bad too.
Yeah.
It's
no. Okay, never mind then. I won't start it because I was hooked on Game of Thrones and then Outlander.
Vikings?
I don't know.
You see Vikings? No.
Outlander, which is on, I think it's on Stars or Hulu, and then they're like Game of Thrones. This last season just came out. It took like I think a year, so I'm done with them. If you take too long, I'm not watching you.
Yeah, she'll say
I'm
that.
Not watching
she told me that with Game of Thrones. I'm not watching that when it comes out, and I was like, yeah, you are, and she did. Yeah. She watched it, and everybody was cheering at the end of the season finale. But that was my week. That was
okay.
It's just work.
Yeah.
Work and then Malia's games on Tuesday.
Awesome. We are just going to take a quick break. We have Isaac coming on right after our break. And so we're going to learn everything that has inspired Waterman, and we're excited. So we will be right back.
Anywhere.
Wait a minute. What, Mena? We gotta go. No, we don't gotta go.
So when we come back, we're gonna talk to Isaac Halasima. Again, he's the personal project director for Waterman, and something that Polynesians, especially Hawaiians, hold close and near and dear to their heart because of what he represents to the modern sport of surfing. He is the father of surfing. So when you see like the huge, I don't know, what are they called? The surfing championships up on the North Shore on Sunset and Bonsai and all those kind of things, all that starts in Hawaii where, people see people riding those big, huge longboards. I mean, the surfboards from back in the day were like, I don't know, they were heavy and they were wood, and you could get hurt by one if you fell in front of one. So we'll hear from Isaac Halasima, the personal director for Waterman, when we come back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Faika Podcast.
Hey, it's Naki with Island City Media. We are here in Southern California at the We Are Samoa Diamond Gala. We are celebrating Jerome Fa'anana Gray. Lots of VIPs here, so we'll be talking to them soon. Stay tuned for more.
Really awesome to be here at the venue here in Costa Mesa. I'm really looking forward to raising money for scholarships and for the American Heart Association and for the diabetes awareness.
Performer, legendary musician, and so just being able to come out here and support and be a part of it is beautiful.
It's a lot of great energy and a lot of beautiful people. It's an honor to see a lot of faces doing great things that look like me.
Can't wait for you to see the man of the hour because he is absolutely fabulous.
And he's really a pioneer.
The Gray family, Jerome, they've contributed so much to island music, and it's just an honor to be here.
The reason why we're here to celebrate Uncle 75th, such an icon for our people.
Our lives growing up, we got the opportunity to perform with him in Hawaii. I mean, there's legendary status and there's iconic status, and that's where Uncle is.
This is an amazing event. We couldn't be more proud to celebrate the entire Gray family, but specifically our elder Jerome Gray, everything that he has done for not only our community, but for the world.
I encourage all our kids, all our Polynesian, kids throughout the world, follow your dreams.
Just to be part of this whole event, how much he's meant to our community, the music, the inspiration. It's just a blessing to be part of it.
The red carpet event has been amazing. Everyone looked beautiful. Star-studded evening, VIP everywhere. We're looking forward to the rest of the night.
Hello, Troy Polamalu with Island City.
Keep it locked on Island City.
Where the beach meets the street.
That's right.
Boy.
What a great job you guys did with the red carpet event, with that We Are Samoa event, the gala, and you did a great job on the red carpet. I know that you did not like, we were setting up and I could tell that you were not in your comfort zone, but I think I said if you're not comfortable, you're growing. So Naki grew a lot in that event.
My gosh.
There you go, Naki.
So awesome to see everybody all done up, black tie event,
Pacific Islanders,
our
own red
all
carpet,
polished up and looking pretty, walking the red carpet, and awesome that you got a chance to talk to the two-time world champion Pittsburgh Steelers safety Troy Polamalu. Good job.
Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm gonna have to get that editor because I can't even tell you how many times I dropped the F-bomb and then they cut it. So I'm gonna get Isaac that guy's name because the editing was amazing. So yeah, there you go. Are we gonna?
Yes, I'm gonna introduce our guest, and man, are we looking forward to this? Is one of those things that when Naki landed, I was like, really, on Sunday?
I know.
Awesome. So Isaac Halasima is a personal project director with Duke Kahanamoku being one of the most revered and celebrated figures of his Polynesian heritage. Another connection to Duke, his uncle Jan Gordon Fisher sculpted the world famous statue of Duke on the beach of Waikiki in Hawaii. Halasima also directed The Last Descent, which won 2 Utah Film Awards and played in theaters across the western United States. He made his first big national move as a director with his music videos Demons and Gold for the band Imagine Dragons, with Demons receiving an MTV VMA nomination for Rock Video of the Year. Isaac always loves starting conversations about Duke with a question: how many American athletes have monuments and statues dedicated to them in 3 different countries on 4 different continents? Duke Kahanamoku may have been one of the most important sports figures in the world, yet he's barely known or spoken of today. When we think of the dominance of the USA swim team, the worldwide popularity of surfing, or even the fact that the world knows where aloha comes from, most people don't know the man associated with the beginnings of all these things. Isaac is eternally grateful to Sidewinder Films, led by Dr. Stephen Ungerleider and David Ulich, for believing in him as a filmmaker to bring Duke to life on the big screen. Without their visionary support as producer, Waterman would not have been possible, and the world would not know the story of Duke Kahanamoku. Welcome, Isaac.
Aloha. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry, I'm getting a little coffee this morning for some reason. Got a dry throat out here. Utah's dry right now, so I'm like, I'm dying.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning on a Sunday morning. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, I feel like you said too much about me, though. I'm like, man, I didn't do that many cool things.
You should be proud. You did a lot. You should be proud. We're proud of you. You know how we get that? We see a Pacific Islander doing great work, and like, even though we've never met, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so proud. Like and I'm a crybaby, so I always, when I see people that look like me, highlighted, I'm so proud. So thank you for sharing your work.
Where you coming to us from?
That's one of the things that I've gone around the world, honestly, that I've noticed the most is that I thought it was so normal as a kid that when you see someone of your same culture, it's family. You see family. That's what you do. And then I realized that I think that's just what we do mainly, because whenever I see a poly, it's like, it's a cousin, it's a brother. And even if we're not related at all, my dad's from Tonga. I run into a Samoan. I'm like, we're pretty close. It's all right, but it's like, it's kind of how it is. But I realized that's something special on our side, and that's kind of, there's even a whole section in Duke on how that affected him in on his storyline too. So it's like, it's just really cool. So yeah, I get all teary eyed too. It's fun. It's fun to know that you represent a really big family when you do things like with Imagine Dragons at the MTV Awards, and when they put my name on the big screen in front of Beyonce and all the people there, I was like, all right, pronounce that. Go for it. Let's go with it now. It's like, now we got one of us up there. That's what I wanted. For me, it was more about, hey, the family's on the screen now. It was just kind of fun.
It's awesome. It's awesome. How crazy. Well, first of all, what inspired you to do this? And to me, it's crazy. And I think because I'm PI, I'm a Pacific Islander, that I automatically think that everybody knows about Duke and everybody knows about that statue that's on the beach. What inspired you to start this story?
Well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of factors, but for me, part of it was the fact that, you know, growing up in Utah, how many didn't know who he was? It really surprised me. You know, I worked at the History Channel on a show called Gangland. We did an episode on the TCG, and I remember going around and like I'd ask people, we'd talk about things. They're like, yeah, they talk about how we don't have these heroes, we don't have anybody. I'm like, wait, Duke? Like, you guys don't know Duke? And for me, I knew who he was because my uncle made the statue. You know, my uncle.
That is so cool.
You know, it's the thing I'd known about. And my uncle, like, the only reason I exist is because of that uncle. He was out there working as a professor in Hawaii, and then he made that statue. And of course, my mom from Utah is like, I want to go live in Hawaii. So she goes there, lives with him, and then runs into my dad fresh off the boat. And out came me, you know. So
yeah, what a great story.
You know, but so I exist because of my uncle's existence, because of Hawaii, because of these things. And my uncle, you know, since I was his little Polynesian nephew, was so excited to always teach me about Duke and to know who he was. And so when people didn't know who he was, and especially working on that episode, seeing people not know that we do have not just a hero, one of the greatest influence the world has ever seen when it comes to just changing the way people treat each other and sports in general. I was like, crap. And it was right. You know, when Imagine Dragons and all those things took off, and I'd written a movie that was playing in theaters, is when my uncle approached me about it. He says, you know, no one's told this story. And he's like, I think that the Hawaiians could get behind you. And so I was like, I don't know, you know, it's my uncle, but there is kind of a rule with most of us polys is if your uncle asks you to do something, you will do it. Yeah. And that's kind of how it went. Is he died shortly after that. And it was at his funeral. I was sitting there, I couldn't get out of my head just hearing it. And then so I was like, all right, well, if you want me to do it, you got to help me because I have no idea where to start on this. And so found the book. And then from there, it just shot off. The book landed in some people's hands. You know, I just pushed on everybody I could find. Some people that I knew got it to the producers that really bought into it. I had originally written a movie. I wanted to do a movie. And these guys were like, well, what about a documentary? You know, surfing's going to be in the Olympics. It'd be a good time for people to learn who Duke is. And I'm like, okay, I'll do the doc. And so that's when I did it. Sorry, I had a light move. But yeah, so it kind of just went because of that. It starts off with my own culture wanting to know who he is. And then also, man, the 2016 Olympics, I had a cousin, she represented Tonga. She ran for Tonga in the Olympics, Halasima. You know, so it's kind of nice to see the name represent again. But they put up in the swimming, they also put up the greatest American swimmers, and Duke wasn't on that list. And I was like, okay, now I got to do something. You know, it was like, this is too much because America, not only just the world, but America had, as we said, the only athlete I know of with a statue in 3 different countries. No other American I know of is represented like that. And so it's like, maybe it's time to get this guy, really push it. So it's just all that happened. And it's fun, man. It's fun. It's fun to have one of these guys as a storyteller, as a guy, like, from my point of view, to tell the story to someone and watch their eyes. Like how do I not know who this is? You know, and it's fun. It's really fun. I think one of the main reasons he's slipped into history is, one, he was so humble. And also, people only tell parts of the story at times. So when you can get as much of it as you can and stuff it into one spot is when suddenly it's like, it's hard to forget, which is, it's so cool. I mean, you should have seen Kelly Slater. Like, the more we talked with him on it, he was like, oh, the president's got to represent this guy. We got to talk. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, let's do it. You know? So it's like, it's cool.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me that people, and if you're a Pacific Islander, that you don't, because that's, you know, I know the stories, and, you know, it's just a well-known fact that we know this, but to when we hear that the world doesn't know, we're like, well, wait, what do you mean you don't know? So I love that you're telling the story and that it's up on the big screen, and that you've got a good, well, my baby daddy is narrating it, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that you have him on. But
when I lived in Hawaii,
I love Jason.
There were tourists that would say things like, "Oh, Duke, I thought that was like Duke Kahanamoku. I thought was like, you know, King Art. Like, he really existed." Like, there's some people don't know that it's a story, but it's a true story. That person lived. Like, they were, you know, would say things like, I didn't know that was a, you know, an actual person. And when you think about the Olympics and the swimming events, it's almost like, you look at boxing now, it has like so many different divisions. Like, there's a division every 6-7 pounds in boxing. swimming, when you were winning multiple titles in swimming, there wasn't as many events out there to pick and specialize in. So if you were winning gold medals in the Olympics in swimming back then, you were the best swimmer. It weren't you were the best sprint swimmer, you were the best, in this stroke, you were the best swimmer in the world. So to have him dominate those things it's way different. If that happened now, it'd be everywhere.
Right.
Social media would be blowing it up. But because it happened before all of those kind of things, you have people literally thinking like, oh, I didn't know he was a real person.
Oh man. Well, you look at his first time he swam. It's ridiculous when you watch, because I love the Olympics. I watch it every time, but you watch, it's always like point something seconds that someone wins and all this. So when you hear that the first time Duke and again, right off the beach, they're like, hey, why don't you give it a shot? Go race those guys. And the first big race he could ever race in breaks a world record by 4 seconds. It's just psychotic. It's just like, no, if that happened today, that person would be everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
At all times. And it's one of those things in Hawaii, because the scene, we recreated that scene for the documentary. I wanted to shoot it right where he did it. And it was like, man, how is this not marked? It's like, this is like a world record by 4 seconds. The first time this guy ever tried swimming, and he broke racial barriers from that point on because of it, because it was such a crazy number. They're like, okay, bring him over. Let's see what he can do. Because no one believed him. They're like, you guys don't know how to work watches out there. We got to see what's going on out here, which like offended everybody, any race in Hawaii, that they're saying you don't know what you're doing. And so everybody pays to get Duke to fly over there. Well, boat, train over there. It was horrible what they did. And next thing you know, he's one of the first people of color to jump in a pool on the mainland, because they were all whites only. And it's just this quiet thing he pulls off, but he does it just like that because no one can believe the numbers that he was getting. And what's crazy is that he didn't have a clue what he was doing either. He was just having fun in the water and beating them. So it's like, it's an amazing story. That's our guy. It's wild to me, because his whole life he's doing things like that. He's changing the world. He's changing things. And part of the documentary we go into, like, why was he able to break so many color barriers so quickly without a problem? And a lot of it they think is that he was the first Polynesian really anyone had actually seen. And so he ended up setting up a stereotype for us. And when you talk to most people that know of Polynesians, our stereotype tends to be, oh yeah, those really athletic, friendly people. And it's like, there's only one guy that was really the one setting that out from the get-go. And it's pretty fun that, oh my gosh, that points back to Duke. And it's like all of it
That's awesome.
goes to there. And it's really, really cool. You look in the racial times of America that he was existing, they would just do all the typical segregation things. But, when it came to throwing on an Aloha shirt and acting like a Hawaiian, no, they're in for that. They're okay with that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's wild. It's really wild. But this guy did so subtly, starting with his athletic prowess and then his kindness and spirit of aloha on top of it. It's really an amazing thing that he pulled off.
It's amazing. So there's a bunch of different, history is only written by people that are writing history, right?
Yeah.
So I read a book called Aloha Rodeo, and it talks about a Kua Purdy, who was a Paniolo on the Parker Ranch, going to Cheyenne, Wyoming in 1908. 1908 is still running around with 6 shooters on your hip. Like that's still, you know what I mean?
That's Billy the Kid era. Yeah.
He participates in the Frontier Days Rodeo, which is the world's largest rodeo with the best American riders, and takes first place and never comes back because he was like, I'm not into that. But nobody thinks of like the West as being Hawaii. Right. You think the West, you think of Tombstone or, I don't know, Billy the Kid and those kind of things. But that piece isn't written, and I remember the Super Bowl came on, Super Bowl 50, I think. I can't remember, but they were talking about, the first person of color to sign a contract with the Redskins. And I was like, Bob Apisa signed the year before that.
Yeah. He was so mad. He was texting me and I was like, it's okay. It's okay.
But there's not, nobody's going to write our history except for somebody like you, Isaac, except for somebody who's going to say, I'm going to go ahead and write this story and tell the stories that aren't told. They're not told because who's writing history in the early 1900s? Not us.
Yeah.
It was somebody else was writing it. And to see that, to see, when the more of these things come out, talk about gathering information for that, because it's not written, because history is not written from our perspective. How did you go about getting information for the film?
Oh man, I annoyed the Bishop's Museum. I'll tell you that right now. They were, I mean, they were cool with me, but they were like, you could tell that it took them a while to go, he's really not going to leave till he gets everything, is he? And it's the Bishop's Museum's a great resource. They were awesome, and of course I get all like honor the people type thing when I'm out there, because their sports museum for Hawaii is in the basement there. And I was like, no, this needs to be in the natatorium. Let's put it out there. Let's make it cool. But hey, that's another story. Right. But yeah, it was a lot of it was there. And then also the David Davis with the book. What I like about him is for him, I mean, it's just this white dude from the LA Times that was doing originally a story on Jim Thorpe. And he kept seeing Duke pop up while he was doing the Jim Thorpe story, because Duke and Jim Thorpe were friends, actually very close friends. And it was, and there's some hilarious stories there of Jim Thorpe saying, I needed to let someone else win a medal. So yeah, I didn't swim. And Duke's like, all right, we'll go with that. But it's, but he kept seeing this. And so he went with Duke. And what actually made it interesting for him is that, the Hawaiian community is very, and rightfully so, after people have really done their own thing with stories, we're like really kind of, I don't know, with this guy. And so he decided to go strictly with newspaper articles. And that's what the Waterman story is the book that he wrote is it's his like chronicling everything by collecting as many newspaper articles as he could. So he became a huge resource for me by using what was in the papers. And that's what I actually originally wrote my movie off of, was based off of his research. But from there, it was getting in with the Hawaiians, because I mean, part of what makes legend cool is the stories, from one to another. And I think what's cool about our culture specifically is that we didn't have a written language till the 1800s. Mm-hmm. And so every story we told, everything we did was from person to person. And and me personally, I think that's what affected the way we treated each other. Because if you have to remember the story of your people, it's going to affect you. It's going to do things. When you write it down, you can kind of like lay it off and set it to the side. But with our people, we had to know it, because that's the only way it lives for the next generation. And I think that still exists inside of us, even though the stories get their own little flavor on top. That's awesome. That's what makes legends. And so I was like, I wanted that too. And so, yeah, that's when we got into Buffalo Kealana, and we get into Didi and all the guys that are old school on the beach that will talk and tell you the story with their own little touch on it. I was like, I want that too. I was like, I don't want to kill your stories. I want to tell your stories the way you tell them too. And let's see, where all the lines line up, that's where I'm going to just hit it. And we're going to go have fun with it there. So it's like a combo of history according to newspapers, which, like you were saying, really depends on who was writing it. And then the stories from Hawaiian to Hawaiian that have been passed down through history. And it's just, it ends up being fun. Because I think the problem with me is most projects I'll get a script, and my whole thing is, okay, how do I learn to like this and then do that? And with Duke, it was the opposite. It's like, okay, I like it way too much. How do I kick it back? How do I go? So, because I mean, it's one of those things where it's an honor to tell a weight to tell it. It's like, it's scary. It's someone that I love. And so what the idea was let the people tell the story around me. And so that's, when you watch it, it's everybody around me telling the story. And then from Jason kind of is my voice with him and everybody, where it's like, okay, we'll just guide it and let the people tell the story. And that's how it went. It's a lot of fun that way. But I mean, we're talking 3 years of getting ready just to start shooting before we did it. So because I didn't want to mess up, we wanted to have fun. So,
it's airing tomorrow in Redwood City, and we're going to be there. We're just, of course, we want to show support, but we also want to see the stories about us, told by us, directed by us. It's really I say this now all the time. It's a great time to be a Pacific Islander, because our kids get to see us in these lights that me growing up, I didn't see anyone that looked like me, directing or teaching so it's amazing to see. And what we were saying was the only time these stories are going to get out is when we tell it ourselves. So
yeah, that's interesting that you had talked about Buffalo being in the film, and seeing that, hey, I don't want to, it's not taking shine away from Duke if I tell the story of other Hawaiian surfers, right?
Yeah.
I used to live in Makaha, and I remember the second time I went to that beach, Makaha beach, there were people out there talking about buffalo. You know what I mean? And it was interesting. Like, that's his beach, right? So, you know, way after he's not surfing the beach anymore. You know what I mean? He's not there. He's still there. He's still there because there's people, locals we're talking about. And this is literally the second time I ever went to the beach. There were locals on there, you know, about 6 feet away from me talking about the time that he saved this kid, you know, near the rocks. And to hear that you said, hey, let's just include them too and not, you know, exclude or anything. That's a real PI way of looking at things. Naki, when you were first talking about, you know, hey, I thought it was normal for us to always say, you know, hey, what's up to another Pacific Islander, then you found out that's not necessarily true. It's more of a PI thing. Naki's, you know, she has a great story about her daughter playing volleyball. Once you tell it, of how other people can see in the culture and cheer.
I think it's the whole thing where we see each other somewhere. I was at my daughter plays volleyball, and we were at a tournament, and I was watching her game was going on, and these two PI girls were walking by, and they stopped. They seen her. She was the only one on the court, a PI girl, and they stopped. And I seen them sit down. And then as my daughter was playing, they were cheering and getting up and cheering her on. So I thought they knew my daughter. So I walked to the other side where they were standing, and I introduced myself, and I said, hey, do you know, are you friends of my daughter? And they said, no, we were just walking by and we seen another Pacific Islander girl playing. So we stopped to cheer her on. And I was like, I love that, because we do that in our everyday life. We don't know somebody. And that's what I love about our culture is we're just so proud of one another. I'm going to cry. We're so proud of one another, whatever we're doing, whatever it is, we stop to support each other. And I think that's what we're encouraging people, our community, to tomorrow to show up at Redwood City and watch this film that's directed by Isaac, and to show support. It's a story about us. And I love that that you are telling the story, and that we get to see it told in your eyes, and how it's gotten together to hear this great story of Duke being told by you, Isaac, and the whole, your whole production team, the whole everything. It's a beautiful thing to see, and for it to be happening now. And I'm encouraging people to show up tomorrow at Redwood City, and we have the link. We've been posting the link since Melissa Natane Jones, who told us about and again, we're the ones that are PIs are promoting the show. We've passed the press packet on to other Pacific Islander programs, because we're not seeing this on CNN, and we're not seeing, which we should. It's important that people know this story. And so I'm so proud of the work that you're doing, and we're proud to go tomorrow and watch this show.
Where are you coming to us from, Isaac?
I'm in Utah right now. I'm in Vineyard, Utah. Yeah. Okay. My dad coached, if you guys know rugby, my dad started the Provo Steelers rugby team. And so, if you know us, I'm sorry about the fight. It was a good game. So I grew up as a rugby player with my rugby family, even though I was a dancer mainly as a kid. But I'm a Utah kid. I'm a Hawaii creation that was raised in Utah is how it works. But
nice.
But it's I like it though. It gives me, because when I go to Laie, I feel I'm at home too. And it's kind of nice to be able to call two places like that home, loaded with Polynesians and a special breed of Polynesians. And it's funny, you guys say that out there, like the PI thing out in your area, man. I heard my producers were dying because they said that at first no one was really talking about that show out there, and then they said something clicked, and I'm like, oh, they found out a Poly did it probably. They're like, really? I'm like, yes. I'm like, because I'm with you guys. Our family had a rule. We would like anything The Rock makes, even if we don't like it, we like it. That's just kind of how it went.
That's a great way to put it. We'll love it. We may not like it, but we'll all love it because because of who he is.
It's like, and remember like the one movie where we're like, he's a hockey player in tights. That's weird, but we'll go with it. It's cool. We're in. We're going. But it's like, that's a good movie. So it's like not a problem there. But it's like, I've always done that. And I was like, man, I think it's alive out there. And I do have family out there too. A lot of my Tongan son, the Natuvais and all them out there that are cousins of mine out there. Everyone's got. But I mean, really, like I said, when I see Polys, they're cousins. I was in Japan performing as a kid. and Polynesians came. There was a family that was there. I don't know what they were there for. They saw. We all just like stood, looked at each other like, Polynesians in Japan? All right. Let's say hi to each other. You know?
I know. We got our tickets yesterday, and then I get a text from my girlfriend, and she's like, "Are you going to the show tomorrow?" And I was like, "Yes." She's like, "Okay, I'll bring some lemon bars." So now we're gonna eat. We're gonna
I just want to see a kava bowl too. You know, might as well go all the way. You know,
yeah, it's gonna be.
Actually, she's from West Valley. She's from
West Valley.
Oh, for real?
And she's here in California. My Brit Afu is gonna be at the show tomorrow, and she's like, "I'll bring lemon bars." I'm like, "Okay, I'll bring something too." Just it's amazing to see the support that once. I think that's what it is nobody knew that you were the director. Nobody knew that a Pacific Islander was involved in the film that's about Duke. And then as soon as the word got out, I think I started hearing, "Are you going? Are you going?" "Yes, I'm going." "Okay, I'll see you there." You know, and so that, of course, word of mouth and just
part of that might be my fault, because like my thing is I've always wanted to hide from any kind of limelight. That's why, like, when you talk about things I've done, I'm like, man,
being humble. I think that's the problem.
It's because like I want people to. I always want the story to be in charge, not me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if I do my job, people talk about the story forever. That's always my goal. Like with Imagine Dragons, with their music videos, I was always hoping people would talk about how cool the video felt, not like who made that. You know, it's like that kind of thing. And so it's like, part of that's my fault. And like I have a sister-in-law here. She's just like, "Why aren't you telling people who did this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just, it's Duke. I want people to know Duke, not me." You know, so
that's the thing, though. Because I remember, I'm not a huge comic book movie fan. Every time I go, I'm really entertained, right? But I just never like pick it to go. And then as soon as I heard who the director Taika was for the, then I'm like, well, I gotta see it. And wait, the Hulk is wearing ulas? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Taika is legit. So he deserves every honor he gets. You know, he's one of those special ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, so do you.
Yes, you.
Well, it was part of Hollywood. We've been calling it Hollywood. Me and all the other
Hollywood. I love that. I love that.
We have a lot of us in there. Duke was the original, so he did 26 movies.
Hollywood. He started it.
Yeah, he did 26 movies at a time when they'd rather paint someone a different color, and that shows a lot of his power right there. So it's like it's fun to call it that. Like I said that with Jason too when I was working with him on the narrations. Like, "Hey, welcome to Hollywood, bro." You know, it was just.
That she's talking about Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you remembered him after she broke up with him. I didn't know if he's like
a lot of these.
They're back. Jason and Lisa are back together.
So before, I got a question about the statue that's in Hawaii, but we've been talking so much because I got carried away. Alan is in Southern California. He's in Los Angeles. Do you have any questions about? And I don't know if it's playing up, if it's just premiering in Redwood City. I just know that's where I'm going to be tomorrow night. But Alan, I want to make sure we gave you time to ask any questions of Isaac or about the film or Duke or anything.
No. A lot of what he spoke about, it's pretty much on point. So I can't wait till it comes out because growing up on the Big Island in Kelka, in Hilo, in the Kelka community, we used to hear about the Duke growing up. You know, the whole establishment of Duke, the foundation of Duke, when he was a surfer, to being a sheriff's deputy, to being a politician. Wow. So his life is full circle. So yeah. Brother Isaac hit it on point. Hey, I'm sorry about that back chat. Kelka, I just put a chat in there about where I grew up. I had no idea you were on the back area, and it was a song. It was just a song that I remember growing up. Kelka Smiles. Written by at first Uncle Kihei Brown, and I think Kapena sings it now. So I had no idea. My bad, but
no, it's awesome. It's awesome.
But anyways, no, you hit it on point, and I can't wait to see the film and to see, because like Auntie Mackie and Uncle Carl say we are small in numbers, but we are slowly growing. Our faces are out there, one day at a time, slowly but surely.
Yeah, we're small in numbers, but we're effective. That's for sure.
As athletes, we've been out there, but in other sectors, other aspects of it, we are growing. We are getting out there.
Yeah, well, I'll be out there for a screening in LA too, bro. If you're around that area next week.
Yeah.
At the Asian Pacific Islander Film Festival, it's free tickets for those that apply out there. So
okay. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Do you have any social media outlets, brother?
Yes.
I mean, I'm just a normal dude on social media, so it's easy
On
to find me.
Instagram.
But I know
Okay.
Waterman has a page too. So
Okay. So everything just hit you up through there.
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
Awesome. Yes.
There we
And
go.
then Melissa Nathana Jones and PCRC are giving away 4 tickets. So the first person or first 2 people that say, Waterman, I'm going, you will receive these tickets. So there you go. So, and then, usually we get our responses after everybody gets out of church. So
Right.
Hey, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I will be there tomorrow too for it. So it'll be fun.
for a Q&A session
Oh,
afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes,
It'll
we're
be
looking
fun.
forward to that. We're looking forward to that. Isaac, thank you so much for your time this morning.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
I
Oh,
got a
yes,
quick
your question. Go
I got a
ahead.
quick question. When I lived in Hawaii, I would go down to Waikiki and hang out, and the locals there would complain about the statue of Duke Kahanamoku with his back to the ocean.
Basin,
Is he far enough away from the ocean that is not culturally wrong? Or how do you feel? How does the family feel about his back being to the ocean? Because he's like 100 yards away.
Honestly, they're all just laughing and excited that people talk about the statue that I know
There
of.
you go.
Because
That's
there's easy ways to say it, but it's one of those things that sometimes you're like, all right, you just want to talk about something, because at the same time, no one ever really, it's really hard to walk out of the ocean backwards at the same time. So it's like, it's one of those things where you get it from a symbolic perspective, but from a tourist perspective, when you want people to take a picture of Hawaii, you don't want a bunch of hotels in the background.
Yeah.
And you'd rather get the ocean and what Duke would want you to see that he loved. And so,
Yes.
so it's like, everyone understands it, but at the same time, they're like, but come on. I mean, do you want people to see the Hilton, or do you want them to see the ocean? So
Right. That's so awesome. We just got a winner for the tickets. That was quick. Fusion X Fine Feuiaki Robertson. You are going to tomorrow's show. Thank you so much. We'll get you your 4
We'll
tickets.
see you there.
We will see you there.
We'll be the ones in the middle of the theater with the big, huge tub of popcorn with too much butter in it.
Yes. and lemon bars.
Hey, that's the only way to watch a movie, man. What are you talking about?
Gotta have popcorn.
There you go. I have a little popcorn with my butter.
Yeah. And
so
lots
there
of
you go.
salt. I want my lips to pucker every time I bite. That's how it's salt.
Yes. Thank you so much. So we're going to let you go, Isaac. Thank you
Right.
so much. I know you're crazy busy, and we're going to see you tomorrow in Redwood City. We will post the flyer again. Get your tickets online, because if you just show up, it might be sold out. So we encourage you to get your tickets online, or you can show up there. I'll let you know if it's sold out, but if it's sold out, qualify. So there you go. We have our winner for our tickets. Isaac, we are so proud of you. We look forward to meeting you in person tomorrow. Thank you to Melissa Natana Jones for supplying the tickets. And we will get that to you. Thank you, Melissa and PCRC, for the tickets. Thank you for highlighting this amazing man that people should know about. 5-time Olympic champion. We're going to find out so much more tomorrow. Watching the movie, we get to meet you tomorrow, Isaac. So we're looking forward to an amazing time. Follow him on Instagram. I know you got Instagram because I tagged you. I know you got Instagram because we tagged you. So thank you so much. God bless your journey, and thank you for this amazing film that's coming out.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Anything for us, for the family, right? I got it.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Man, that is just one of those stories that got to be told.
Oh my God, I love it. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and congratulations again to Fusion X. Melissa, hit her up. Hit Fusion X up. Thank you, Melissa, Nathana Jones, and PCRC for the 4 free tickets. You missed out if you wasn't watching, and there you go. So congratulations. And it's just, I'm so deeply touched by that movie. And I think what hit me is when you were talking about, we have to tell our own stories for the world to know about all the amazing things, that there's so much more stories that are untold. But that's because I think, like I said, well, Isaac's like, I don't want to tell too many people. We're so humble. Like, I'll do it. We're going to shout it from the mountaintops. We're going to shout it.
It's like the book that I read, Aloha Rodeo. I remember, they were talking in the book that, the book's progressing along. And then in the book, it's talking about him and Archie Ka'awa and Jack Lowe, the 3 Paniolo from the Hawaiian ranch, going to compete in the the Frontier Days, the biggest rodeo in the world. And I remember thinking, well, I mean, they're going to go. That'll be pretty cool. They compete, but what kind of story is it that but it's a true story, right? They go there and win. Ikua Purdy wins.
Yeah.
And that's somebody from Hawaii riding against, people from Texas and from Oklahoma and all these, what you would think would be the West, but you're never going to hear that. You're never going to hear that story unless you got to go look for it. And to not know about Duke Kahanamoku is, who hasn't gone out there with a paddleboard or, watched surfing or, been involved with surfing.
Alan, what did you think of Isaac and the work that he's doing? What do you think about that?
That's great work. He really hit it spot on. To know that, I was just more impressed that he's out there.
Yeah,
he's out there, and that we're making progress.
Yes,
we are. I always have this. I think at times I have this 5 to 10 year projection where we will be as PIs. I just put it like this: we're only going to get better, in spite of being small in numbers.
Right.
But the growth is there. With Coach V being, on my side, with Coach V being one of those inspirational pioneers. I mean, there's like him and several other Polynesian public speakers out there, and to hear Brother Isaac and the work he's doing. There's more of us that needs to be out there, telling the stories that no one has heard.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, the accomplishments, the accolades, and I'm saying this in a humble sense, that a lot of us need to be heard, and going the route that Brother Isaac's going is such a great accomplishment, a great feat, a great avenue.
There's so many creative innovators out there that can tell the story. It's important to make sure that that somebody like Isaac's going to make sure that the story's told the right way.
Yes.
Right. And to be in there hounding the Bishop Museum, which actually, think about if the Bishop Museum wasn't there, right? So if it weren't there, then how would he? So it's too bad that he's got to go do all the work and get that from there, but it's good that it's there, right?
Yeah.
That's a resource. And then the other thing that really has struck me is over the last few years, they're just this little thing, but it is big to me, is that the sports announcers, the football announcers now announce, and you can tell they've learned how to say the Polynesian last names.
They actually practice.
Right?
I can tell
You
that
can
they
tell.
practice.
Like when they say Fa'alele, I was like,
Okay.
all right.
I'm like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny because they
it's
ask me
important.
how do I pronounce my last name, and I just tell them Alan's fine. That'll work.
Yeah, no, you make them say your name. Make them say
Like
it.
Malia, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Naki's daughters she would correct teachers
she was-
every year when she go to a new
when she was in kindergarten and she was going to school, her name is Malia, and so in kindergarten they were calling roll call, and I was in there worried because it's her first day, and the teacher said, I think the teacher said Malia, and my daughter said, no, it's Malia, and I was like, oh, I'm good, I can go home now. Like, we really teach our kids to correct the person who's saying your name so that they know how to say your name correctly, because that's what we got is our names, right?
And that's one thing to, if it's somebody that you're only going to meet and they meet you once, they mess up your name, whatever, you know what I mean? Like maybe you don't, but a teacher that you're going to interact with
every
you're
day,
going to say my name all the time, then you're going to,
Right.
I've got to take the time to make sure you say it right. And, to have the strength as a kindergartner, as a young person to correct a teacher about your name, that's awesome. But
yeah, and my kid's name is no joke. Like Malia, Elvira Motley, and then my other daughter's Timena. So my kid, and then there's Evie and Miley. I've got them to where they've they correct people when they say their name wrong. So if anytime anybody says their name wrong, my kids they will correct you, because that's what we take pride in our, my daughter Timena, she's named after her great grandmother. So there's a history there. And if you're going to say my child's name, you're going to say it right. So I think it's a, make them say your name, Alan, make them say your name.
No, I'm so used to spelling it for them.
Right.
Because, if I'm saying it over and over and over, maybe I'm just one of them polys that I'm just tired. I'll just spell it for you. I'm tired of repeating myself.
Yeah.
But you're correct. Make them say it.
Make them say it. Make them say it, and make them say it the right way. So
Right.
yeah,
Smile.
that's awesome.
I smile a little bit every time a football announcer says the right name.
Oh,
I remember,
they're practicing.
like when Manu Tuiasosopo played, and this is like early 80s.
Yeah.
The radio announcer, because I wasn't watching it on TV, but I'd hear it, and they would, I obviously didn't know how to pronounce anything, but now I look back at it and I was like, they never tried. They just got to the game and looked at the roster and the people playing and pronounced it. However, now it's not okay. Yeah. Now people, if it's an odd Polish name, you better take the time to learn how to say it, because you're going to get called out on it. And that is definitely a thing with the PIs in the league. Yeah.
Like my government name is Annette. So even like people chop that up. They're like, Anita, and oh, it's good to meet you, Anita. I'm like, no, it's Annette. That's my mother.
And that's the easy one.
That's the easy one.
Yeah.
I've got people, and then with Naki, everybody's like Negi, Naki. Nope, it's Naki. But it's names. There you go. So go ahead.
So I'm used to being around it. Like there was a player down here about 5 years ago, but that played for SC, Stevie Tui Kolovatu. I can pronounce it. The other guys are looking at me like, how did you say that? Like,
what did you say?
Huh? Tui Kolovatu. Or, they're like, huh?
Yeah, it's easy for you, right?
Because I'm always, I grew up around them. I'm always around them.
Oh, definitely.
So it became an inside joke. I said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, after a while, they just called him Stevie T. He was here at SC for a year. He was at Utah. He came here. Everybody could pronounce it, but not the polys could pronounce it, but the rest of them couldn't. So that's the one up we have.
One of the events we have coming up that we're very proud of is the Samoan Wellness Initiative presents Teu Leva, the photo exhibition curated by Sui. That's the Samoan Wellness Initiative and our very own Timena Moli. Teu Leva is a photo exhibition exploring the relationships, spaces the Samoan Community Development Center has nurtured for over 3 decades in service of the Samoan and Pacific Islander community. It's happening next Friday, May 13th at SCDC. The soft opening is at 10 a.m. to 11, and the community opening is that evening from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's where you'll find me that night.
That's where you'll find me too. We have the water. Of course, we just had Isaac on, and Waterman is playing tomorrow at Redwood City at 825 Middlefield Road, Redwood City. Get your tickets online or scan that code. We have PCRC's flyer up. Waterman will be playing tomorrow. So get your tickets online, or again, show up and you may or may not have a ticket. So get your tickets online.
First annual Pacific Feats Festival is happening Saturday, July 9th, 2022 at the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds, featuring various PI artists such as Fiji, Sammy J, Maoli, and Tanel, and more artists to be added. Please go to pacificfeatsfestival.com to get your tickets.
Look at you, man, with the flyer. Essence Samana is offering free classes via Zoom. They are reaching out to our Pacific Islander community, and it doesn't matter where you live. They just have to be willing to commit to the course, which is 12 weeks. Classes start May 5th at 6 p.m. For more information or to register, you can hit up Lulu Masina at 415-243-6328 or El Masina at healthright360.org.
So we have the Amu Barbecue coming up. It's been gone for 2 years. I think we missed 2 years of that awesome, amazing event, probably our favorite event of the summer in the Bay Area. So All My Uso's 7th annual Amu Barbecue is happening August 20th, 2022 at Gilman Park in San Francisco. Free family affair for the entire family. Before they would say, just bring water and they'll provide the meat and the food. If you can't bring the water or the snacks, just bring yourself.
Yeah.
And be there for a good time. There's free haircuts. There's backpack giveaways. There's all kinds of stuff going on there. So again, that's August 20th at Gilman Park in San Francisco.
Yep. And the Polynesian Heritage Awards is happening for the 4th annual Polynesian Heritage Awards is happening this Friday, May 6th. We're celebrating our history and embracing the journey forward. There's so many amazing people that are nominated. Best educational blah blah blah.
NACI is the master of ceremony, so we're going to have a good time there with all of that. And she gets to work her second red carpet of the year.
Yeah, and Carl's going to be there too. Don't play me, fool. Don't play me. I will sock you in the throat. Me and Carl will be there on Friday. If you haven't got your tickets, get them online. Follow Polynesian Heritage Awards on Instagram, Facebook, everything. It's really started with Manufo Liang on Hawaii celebrating her birthday, and she didn't want to celebrate her birthday, so she decided to have an award ceremony celebrating everyone that's doing the work.
Happy 31st.
Koviki Talk, yes. Koviki Talk is back. We are we'll be on Tuesday this week at 6 p.m. It will be in language with Dr. Fetai Faleava, who will be the host. And so check that out at 6 p.m. We have the flyer. We've posted the flyer on social media. So go check it out. I think I've covered everything, Hamina. Yes, we caught everything. Alan, what's going on with you this week?
Work.
And
prepping. I DM'd you at next, but I'm working on that speech I told you about, the art of giving.
Yes.
So I'll keep you in the loop.
Yes.
Let me know. Carl to come on the show. Come try me to one of my meetings again.
Okay, no problem.
We're still doing it in Zoom. We haven't done any in-person work yet because a lot of us are still the whole thing with COVID protocol. Some places have began to meet up in person. Some people have already moved on to what they call the I forgot. It's called the speakers. We had a few in our group, but they've already moved on to the Speakers Bureau.
Oh wow!
Which is a group in Toastmasters where they prepare you for the professional side of things.
Oh, nice.
I was recommended, but I haven't really followed through. I was recommended, but COVID hit, so I really haven't touched base yet.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of trying to move over into the Speakers Bureau side, which is prepping professionally.
Awesome.
It's just basically you're staying local in the local community here in LA, and wherever they need speakers, they go to. A lot of who we have are doctors, lawyers, teachers, military people, police, off-duty, law enforcement. So we have people from all different walks of life.
Nice.
So it's not really people trying to compete against one another, but it's more so you compete against yourself, you're bettering yourself. So I've been doing it for 4 years. So, but my mentality is, we'll celebrate it for now, but wake up tomorrow and there's still a lot of work ahead.
Yes.
Because you don't want to get comfortable. You don't want to get laxed because you just don't do that.
Well, however we can help you, let us know when. We'll be there.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome.
Because the whole, that's probably one, Anti-Nax, that was a brilliant idea. The whole snack you and knack. Yes, I was like, I couldn't even think of that. And the timing of it was perfect with people losing their jobs, the pandemic just being what it was in the situation, and now people slowly getting back to work.
Yeah, I didn't come up with the name, but the concept is I watched this lady on TikTok who was doing it, and she's blew up. Like, she gives away thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a week. I'm compared to her, I'm a piddly little, but I love the concept of giving because of the pandemic. So many people were hurting, and I know how it feels to hurt and need help. So that's why I started. And because of the pandemic, these Zoom meetings were going on, like I said, and people were watching me eat all the time during the meetings. And Yvette, one of our dear friends / cousins / sister, said that I was always eating. So she said, snacky nacky. And then it just grew from there. So really, but I get I love the concept of helping. And it's a community event. It's not just me, I'm just the messenger, but I love that the community together gets to give. So yeah. Just let us know when that happens, and we will be there. We're going to give you back our Sunday because I know that you have to go to work soon, and we going to go eat because I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. I'm always hungry. But thank you, Alan, this morning for joining us. We appreciate you. Follow Alan on all social media outlets. Mena will put up his Instagram. He's on Instagram. So of course, go follow Alan on Instagram and check out his podcast. I've listened, the FTM, like you said, tell everyone what FTM stands for.
It stands for the forward-thinking minded individual. When I first started out, it was more so in the aspects of leadership. But as time has gone, I took a break because I was doing one every week, and it was just like, you know what, hey, let me take 5. I didn't realize I was going to go on an 8-month hiatus. Mm-hmm. But I restarted this month, and a lot of it is spending time. If I could just, I know we're pressed up against time, but a lot of it is now just spending time in the islands. Just giving the speech about the power of resiliency with the whole tsunami in Tonga.
Oh yeah.
Of course, and the last meeting I was talking about the dawn raids. And the first prime minister of Samoa, the Kingdom of Tonga. But my very first speech I gave before the pandemic hit was the protesting of the TMT, and the people who are there, they couldn't believe that when I broke it down, what it's all about and how big it was. I told them, it's the size of Aloha Stadium, and they looked at me like, yeah, don't do it. Mm-hmm. It's putting that big old telescope on a mountain, on Mauna Kea. It's like. Yeah, because you have, I'm not trying to, it's one of those things where right now it's on pause right now, the whole protesting of the TNT, mm-hmm. But they know where I stand. And yeah. I told them, no, you just don't do that.
Yeah.
But, that's for another time when we're off the air.
Yeah, no, but we appreciate you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Big shout out to Anna Mahina, who's on with San Francisco Tongans Rise Up. Go follow them and the great work that they're doing. Our Brittany Afu, I will see you tomorrow because I'm looking forward to the lemon bars that we'll be sharing tomorrow. Don't play me, girl. Don't play me. Bring them lemon bars. So we will see everyone tomorrow. Please go check out Waterman. Get your tickets online. PCRP. Melissa Nathana Jones just gave away 4 tickets. So we'll see and meet the winner tomorrow. Isaac will be doing a Q&A with PCRC.
Britt, I'll see you tomorrow with or without the lemon bars.
Britt, girl, don't play me. Bring them lemon bars. I'm not playing with you. Bring them lemon bars. We will see you tomorrow. Everyone have a great week. Check out Koviki Talk on Tuesday, Wednesday, Island City Media. Have a great week. Come back to FICA with us.
Love y'all.